CBS News confirms President Biden is expected to launch his re-election campaign as soon as tomorrow. So if he wins, America's oldest president could stay in office until he's 86 years old, and that may not sit well for a lot of Americans. Weijia Jiang is at the White House with more on all of this. Good morning, Weijia.
Good morning to you, Anne-Marie, and good morning to everybody. President Biden spent the weekend at Camp David with staff and family members whom he has been consulting with for several months now about a second term. Now, he is expected to launch his formal campaign in a video message as early as tomorrow, but he has some convincing to do, according to a new NBC News poll that shows 70% of Americans do not think Mr. Biden should run again, including 51% of Democrats. Now, half of those who say he should not enter the 2024 race cite his age as a major reason why. CBS News has also confirmed that President Biden is expected to choose Julie Chavez Rodriguez to serve as campaign manager. Right now, she is the director of the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, one of the few Latinas who hold a top position in the West Wing. People familiar with ongoing deliberations about all things Biden 2024 stress to CBS News that some key operational and staffing decisions have not been finally locked in yet, and that includes whether tomorrow is actually the day that the president dives into the race. But of course, we will be tracking it closely. Anne-Marie.
So tell me a little bit more about Rodriguez and why the Biden administration would look to her for this role.
Well, as we mentioned, she is one of the few Latinas who holds a senior position in the West Wing, which could be very helpful as he tries to reach out to that voting bloc as well as other minorities. But in addition to that, she has a wealth of experience working in politics, and she was tapped to not only serve in her role as the director of White House Intercontinental Affairs, but as a senior advisor to the president back in June. She was also the traveling chief of staff and the national politics director for then Kamala Harris's, candidate Harris's, I should say, 2020 presidential race. And she comes from a family of very well-known labor activists. Of course, this is a president who makes clear that he is in full support of unions. So it's someone who really makes sense to be tapped as the campaign advisor. But that has not been officially announced because, of course, he has not officially announced. So we're just waiting for some formal steps to happen before it's official.
It seems like the president's playing this like not so good game of will he or won't he. And I wonder, it's not like we haven't seen any other, potential contenders from the Democratic Party come forward. Why this game? Why this timing? Do we know why we're sort of getting it like this?
Well, that's a question we've been asking, Emery, because you'll remember the president said back in the fall that when he went on holiday for Christmas and New Year's with his family, he was going to have a real serious heart-to-heart with them and talk about what he should do. And then he said he would let us know. Well, now it's almost May, and he hasn't let us know. And I think there's some strategy involved here. And according to the White House, it's always been a question of when he was going to announce. And he himself has said not if, because he has said it is his intention to run. But of course, you can intend to do something and end up not doing it. So perhaps this was giving him some space in case for whatever reason he decided not to do it. But everyone we've talked to believes that he will launch this campaign, but he's the one that has to sign off on the official release date for this video message, on the date for when he makes it official. And so far that hasn't happened. So we're waiting on him, really. And, he, like we just talked about, he has some headwinds against him, right? These low approval ratings are not new. They've been following him for quite some time now, and he's been unable to boost them back up, not to mention all the things that he faces, including a potential default of the, debt ceiling whenever that deadline comes in just a matter of months. So The economy, of course, Anne-Marie, is such a big deal, and right now we just don't know the fate of that and how that could factor in. But, you know, the president, if you ask him, will say, it is my intention to run in 2024. But to your point, there's no real heir apparent if he decides not to. There have been some names to jump in, like Marianne Williamson, but in terms of someone who is really solidified within the party,
right,
he's it, right? So I think it's just a matter of time. It's a waiting game, and we will all wait to see.
Yes, we will. Weijia Jiang, thank you very much.
You're welcome.